Hello, welcome to another tutorial from Tech Reviews. My name's Adam. With this one, I've actually continued from our slide drawer, the navigation drawer where you can use the gestures to slide the drawer open or closed and reveal the hidden drawer on the left. What I did was in this one just create buttons through an array of text, and when you open the drawer you can see whatever the list of whatever array you set up of the text as buttons, and when you hit those buttons, of course, it'll close the drawer and it'll change the label of the main view to that title. Going further, if you instead of changing you can just change the table, you can actually add more content. So if it's certain pages, you can use, say, a switch statement or an if statement, different things, because the tag of the button, you can using the tag from the button, you can separate your actions for those different pages or different buttons accordingly. So basically, if you remember in the builder, which is here, we had our label, and actually we had a button, which I got rid of the button. So this is the main view. When you open the drawer and select it, you're going to change, or it will change this label accordingly. So in the H, I got rid of the action, but I substituted with a menu select action, so that when we had a target action, so when you click the buttons, it will do a menu select based on the sender, and I'm just using the tag, so we're grabbing the tag from there, and you can do whatever you want. You can even open a new UI view controller and go from there. So I added that, and I also added an NS array of menu items to hold our menu items. In this case, I'm only using text, but you can do, if you have icons or images, you can take the image names and put them into this array, and as you loop through the array, you can create the buttons with the set the image of the button to that index of the image for the menu items. But for this, we're just using text. So going over to our .m, I just added our main title and our menu items to our synthesized list. As you recall, and if you haven't, please watch our slide drawer first, or the first one, how we created it, and then come back and watch this. This is menu drawer, or this is where we created the menu drawer of the background, made it red, added the recognizers, which is the UI swipe gestures, added the directions. Now in here, what I did was I took a label, just a title, and set it with a certain X, Y, width, and height, and called it the text menu options. And then here I added the title of this label to the menu drawer. So that's actually a title first. Then I created a scroll view, which is underneath that, and the scroll view will actually contain the buttons of your actions. Now I did that because if you have, in this case I only have 7 or 8 buttons, but if you have more than that, you're going to want to, instead of having limited space, you want the user to scroll through, easy access to all of the choices in the menu drawer. So by doing that, I added a scroll view, which is nice. You don't have to add the scroll view. You can just have the menu items directly added as this UI label. Instead of the UI label, put the just add it right using the menu drawer, add all of the buttons to the menu drawer instead of adding it to the scroll view. So I added an extra step to make just a nicer feel to it of having a scroll view, which you can set, of course. The size, which I match the. I'm actually having a little bit of space, which is the X, and then I bring it down, which so that it comes down below our label header title of the menu title, which is here, and then I match the drawer width and the drawer height, and then you enable it. You want the vertical scroll to be on. The horizontal you don't need. Clear color, just so it's still red. You can make it whatever color you want, or put a background color, pattern even. And clips to bounds is yes, because again, if you said no, it'll actually float around the entire view, which you want to actually set it underneath. You want it to be in a set spot, so you want it to be underneath that menu title. And going forward, I created these button variables so I can, they're easily interchangeable, where you can have the origin of buttons. It's going to start 10, so it's just going to start down, kind of give it a little space from the top of the scroll view. You can make it 5. You can make it, the same X coordinate of the scroll view, whichever. The button width, I made it 227 a value only because I when I created down here, when you create your UI button, I actually went over by 3. So because I'm making the width, I actually did a 230, but you want to actually come back and do the same value. So I came back 3 to offset. I haven't actually run it since I've changed that, so hopefully it looks a little bit evenly spaced right and left. Again, you can set it to whatever width you want. Height, I made 50. Again, you can set it, make it a thin button, thicker button, however you want. And a button separator is just, so there's space in between each button. Now the menu items, as I said, we had it in their .h, and now this is when we're actually setting up and adding our objects, where I just did text, so I did pages 1 through 8. Again, you can use the image names or file names, and then as it loops through, you can set the image to that current indexed object. So then using the menu items, you want to go through each one to add a button for each object. So you want to loop through our menu items to the count. So it creates our menu button, which is with our button width and height that we specified. I used the X. I used a little bit over, so it's not right up against the scroll view edge, and then the origin of buttons, which is where I start with the space of about 10, and that's actually going to be where we're going to change that, because we want to add with the width of the button plus the separator amount or value, so that we have a gap. I did a background color. You can make it whatever color you want. I made this one blue. You want to set the tag to the index, because the tag is actually going to be the same as the index. That way, just an easy track. Set the title to the name of that current index page of the menu items. Set it to normal rather than selected state or not. You just want it to do a normal. It's not selected, so the user can select. You want to set an action target to self. The selector is going to be menu select, as I showed you before, where we added that method down here from the .h. This is this. Put that in there. Now, once you have the button, you want to add the button to the scroll view. Again, if you don't want a scroll view, you'd want to add it to the menu drawer. But before you go to the next button and loop, you want to make sure you change the origin of buttons and add the button height plus the button separator, which is whatever you define up here, giving that gap. So it'll make all the buttons evenly spaced. You want to set the content size. Now you want to take the bounds of the scroll view and get the width of it to match the width of the content size, because the width, again, we're not doing any kind of horizontal scrolling. So it's just going to be the same width. Now the height, I'm going to actually make a lot of space, so more space. So we're going to have the origin of buttons is going to be the last button it made. But I wanted to make extra space, so you can make, you can just do another 50. You can do another button height plus button separator, and just make that width, whatever you like. I gave it 85, a good amount, just so the effect of the scroll view is there and the user can scroll through the list. And of course you want to add the scroll view to the menu drawer like we did with our menu title right here. And then of course you add, as we did before, same thing, you add the drawer to the main view. Now when you select it, because we've defined it in each button, you're gonna call the menu select is gonna be called, and you want to, in this case, we're not doing anything else. Like this is where you'd actually call the switch and go by, the sender tag. If it's certain ones, you can tell it to go to a UI view controller. You can just change the content, add more content to the main page so it looks, so it's a different page. Or you can pass it even off to, like we did with the drawer animation, and pass it off and to its own method. So we can have a method in here that you pass the sender tag into there, or even the selected title into there, and it'll do something else and whatever you want to do. But for this, all I did was pass it to a string, selected title, and change the main title of the page to that selected title. And then, of course, I did the drawer animation, which closes the drawer. So with that, I will run it. And as you see, here's our label. When you open the drawer, see now, instead of just red, we have our main title, which is first, because that draws, that will draw the UI label first, and again, you can name it whatever you want. And then the I should have probably made it a different color, but the scroll view, which is actually here, and then the main the buttons, which actually fit all the way. I should have actually made more, but as you see, it's going to scroll. See, and because I gave it the extra space, there's a good gap, so that way you can get the view. Again, and see how when I scroll, it's locked in here, so it will not cover or not float around. With that clip to bounds, it will not go over that title of our menu option. So there it is. We have our buttons, and then you click our button, it'll change the title. If you'd want to do more, again, you could have added things to this page for page 4 and have it do something else. So with that, that concludes this section or update for our slide drawer. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye bye.